That's right, you just saw the new entry to all my new YouTube videos. And in this video, we'll be diving into how to rebrand, how to select colors, working with your existing art, and understanding your style, where you land in that style, and how to make things work for you. So I really do discover my style, and I wanted to rebrand to make things work for me and fit my personality. So I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with K Montes Art Studio, and I have been thinking about branding my art business this past entire week. I am constantly saying welcome back to my channel, welcome back to K Montes Art Studio, but it's not an official brand yet, and I think that I'm ready to start thinking about it, to prepare for the launch of my brand. I have been YouTubing for the past 6 months. I have 162 followers as of today, which is mind-blowing. 100, I mean, it's not a lot, but from where I started, when I first left YouTube 6 years ago, I had 42, and now I have 162, somewhere around there. I'm not exactly sure. I know that it's only going to grow. I want to be prepared for that exponential growth that I'm seeing happen right before my very eyes. So today's plan is to get a little bit of admin things done for my nonprofit and start to brainstorm. I created an entire book for just K Montes Art Studio. So I did a lot of brainstorming and a lot of hours thinking about what's my goal, why do I want to do this, and how do I want to do this, which I think is really important. And this is exactly how I started my nonprofit, and we've been going pretty strong for the last 3 years. So using those same techniques but applying it to a for-profit is what I'm thinking. So I think today I'm going to go to a coffee shop and work from there, maybe sketch a little and see where the inspiration will come. There's just a couple things that I have to get done today, but usually Wednesdays and Fridays are my really light day, and well, I say that lightly, are my work from home days. That's what they are. So that is today. So let's go. Well, first let's work and then let's go. Today's socks are by United by Blue, and they're a really awesome company. I actually bought these on clearance at Target, and they're hemp blend socks. I found them in the men's section, but the cool thing about them is that every product purchased, and not sponsored by the way, this is Impact Collection. So every product purchased equals 1 pound of trash removed from the waterways, which is super cool. So these socks are pretty thin. They have tri-tones, so olive green, navy blue, and then sort of a Payne's gray, and a cute little pink and green tree. So I wanted to wear these with my Clarks and my crazy teacher dress. So that's today's socks of the day. All right, So I got some of my admin stuff out the way this morning. It's 11:20. I have a meeting at 12, and I'm looking at my calendar on my screen behind you. I hate days when it feels like I haven't accomplished much, but I did do a lot. It's just like a lot of like random, unpredictable things. And then I also have my schedule that's like massively crazy. Let's try not to stab my eye out. So I originally had my nonprofit stuff to be done today, but I won't be able to do that because it takes a lot of brain power to do the one particular task that I have to do. So I think I'm going to spend some time on that probably Friday, and instead I will focus on the art business stuff. So my next thing is to go downstairs to the basement to gather a lot of my art prints, and I'm going to create sort of like a vision board of what I imagine. These birds are going crazy outside. I don't know if it's coming through, but the plan is to create sort of like a vision board to see what my style is, what my brand colors are. So right now on YouTube I have a banner that I attempted to create in a certain style. I don't think it's working, so I'm going to better brand the business, and then once I have all of that scanned and loaded, once I have that all selected, I'm gonna scan and load everything. So I'm gonna treat this as if it were to be a mood board for an interior design client and see how that lands. And then we'll probably go to a coffee shop. I'm debating on which coffee shop to go to. Hopefully I make it to a coffee shop in time, but I don't know. We'll see. Disaster. So I think I mentioned this in a previous vlog, but this is where I keep all of my nonprofit stuff and also a bunch of storage things for my art, and that is where my art market stuff lives. So I think that I'm going to go through this box, check out some of my prints to see what is my brand style, and probably go through that stack of art over there. I also just updated or uploaded a video on AI versus digital versus traditional self-portrait, and I just have so many weird self-portraits. I think it's so funny. So that's one weird one that kind of looks like I have no eyelashes or eyebrows, and then this self-portrait back there. So that little creepy girl, I just love making my self-portraits really creepy for some reason, unintentionally. So yeah, check out that video. It's a fun one. And let me know what you think of my creepy self-portraits. I think I know where I'm going with my branding, because it's just very obvious. But to emphasize, I don't know if anyone has checked out my website yet. Since I am developing my website and my market, I have prints available. These ones are available on sale, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types. This is my favorite. And there is this girl. This is the landscape. And you can check out that video, the art market setup, and how I got ready in 8 hours. So this is another landscape. And ooh, this one was super fun. This actually came from leftover paint. When I created this painting, I was working on something else and there was extra paint, and I really don't like to waste paint, so I take advantage and just do something else. And yeah, that's it. So those are the prints that are available on my shop now. Definitely check out my shop. Link in the bio. Link in the description. This is not Instagram. Some other things that are available on my shop are these prints, and the proceeds for these prints goes towards Youth Design Philly, my nonprofit that teaches students on the benefits of interior design. And we also provide students with low income a free room renovation. So definitely check out my shop. And eventually we'll start to create art that specifically benefits the nonprofit as a fundraiser. So that is the ultimate goal here. So I also have some cards. This one's a fun one. This is like a anything kind of card. You can just fill it in. And so is the interior design print. There's also some sticker sheets that are available. They're super cute. They're regarding love and my love for chocolates and my wife. So that one was made during Valentine's. And the last, well, there's a couple things in my shop, but the other thing that's available is this notepad. And it has a landscape background, very pretty. So check out my shop, and if you have any questions on any originals that you would like to buy or purchase, just email me. The description has my contact information. So I think I'm ready. I think I know where my brand is leaning towards. Not surprised at all. And I kind of like the colors of this jukebox. So jukebox is where I got some of my things printed, and I love the branding colors of these. So I'm definitely in the zone of this, cloth here. And I think I have a vision. All right, so let's go upstairs. I have all my originals that I need to scan and get in on my website. Okay. All right, see you upstairs, possibly in the coffee shop soon. What else do we need to do, Fashionator? I had so much fun creating my brand and my logo. At this point in time, I have already updated a lot of my YouTube things, my website things, as I'm doing this voiceover. So looking back and then seeing the progress that I made with this logo and this branding design, it's definitely a challenge. So I create this mood board and it helped so much, honestly. If you're stuck in trying to make any type of logo or company design, I definitely recommend really laying things out and thinking about your colors, your common threads, your anything that you see similar within all the things that you do within that business. Take some time to create what I would call a mood board, and it helps so much for clarity and unison within your company. So here I'm just gathering a bunch of different colors that really worked well, and I land on a few colors, and you'll see that later on in the video. Okay, so what I'm doing now is, my meeting's done, by the way. I'm collecting a bunch of colors that I like. The problem is that I like every color in the whole wide world. So what I did was, this cloth is my biggest inspiration. A lot of my paintings have similar colors to what I have, unintentionally, well, intentionally, but is more so what I gravitate towards. A lot of my paintings have that sort of pink magenta color in almost everything. I use a lot of green, teals and blues, even in my landscape. So this is the style of landscape that I'm going for, between those, like the colorful ones. Oh, and this here is actually when I got my printer to work for the 17th time, because it doesn't work again. I printed out this beautiful test print. I have the Epson 2760, and I'm considering updating because I've been having this connection issue for far too long. So when I did get that printed, this could probably go up here. I did some test prints of a digital piece that I worked on, and it came out okay. So I think this could go up here. So what I'm doing here is actually using my interior design paint swatches to find the right colors that are within this particular painting. I use the flower portion as inspiration, and it's the threading colors throughout all the other paintings that I used. So I covered up the face because it was a little bit distracting, and I was able to finalize some of the colors, and this helps so much, not to mention it was very fun. I have the colors here. I created a little art mood board. Let's pull this from the wall, and I'm talking to you from behind the camera. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So I think with the gist of the color zone that I'm considering are greens and pinks. So I know that's a for sure color. The green that I chose, however, is very bright, and the other green that I did not pull are much more muted. I know for sure this pink is gonna make the cut. Let's see. And I kind of enjoy just a little bit of black, which I think will come in the logo itself. So let's think about this. I think I got it. I think I got it. All right. So I finalized the color palette. I think I'm going to go with the two pinks, the orange, the green, and the blue, and I stack them in this way to show how much of it I'm going to use. I also really love this new painting that I did. Please don't fall. I did this new painting about 2 days ago with the Holbein gouache. Love it. And then I did the final touches with the Derwent drawing pencils. So final palette that I chose was exactly what I imagined. I really enjoyed it. So I took a picture and I finally made it to the coffee shop only a couple hours later, but you know, that's besides the point. I think stepping outside of my studio helped me to open up creatively. A lot of my sketches were pretty trash, but overall I did rethink the original logo of my signature, played around with a couple animations, and I ended up back to the basics pretty much. So you'll see later on, but I ended up just sticking to the original signature. So we finished at the coffee shop. I think I have two good ideas on logos. While I was working on the logos, I think I was overthinking the ideas, mainly because I want to have a sort of a fine arts logo rather than an illustrative logo, and I think I have a happy medium between the two. So I was doing a lot of research on other artists' logos and how they make art and how their logo looks, and some of the fine artists, so when I say fine artists, mostly like painters, traditional artists versus illustrators, so that's like my medium, like happy medium between the two. I think finding that balance to better represent the fine art aspect and the illustrative aspect was a challenge, but I think I have two types. I revisited the initial logo on my website. It's just my signature. I want it more, but I think I'm overthinking the logo a bit too much because I ended up using the original signature again to see if it works. But yeah, so I spent a couple hours at the coffee shop and we'll see where I land. but I definitely like the color. So that the one thing that's probably going to change from the initial logo are the colors. So the original logo is black, and sure, it's fine for just fine art, but I think I want to find a good balance, like I said, with the two. So I'm off to go home, and I think I'm going to call it a day and continue to work on things tomorrow. If not, we'll see what I feel like when I get home, because I'm tired and I have to teach tomorrow. So see you soon. I did some research and I narrowed it down. So I really looked at all of my favorite artists. I looked at all of the things that they like. So I went from illustrators to fine artists, and I landed somewhere between Sandy Hester and Jess Karp. And I love their work, and I think I live somewhere along the lines of those type of artists. And Sandy Hester does a lot of abstract sort of fine art making. Jess Karp is a good example of an illustrator slash fine artist, and I'm somewhere in that spectrum, right? And I think I was thinking of the design to be too illustrative, and so on my YouTube banner I have this image, and it's fine, it's okay, it could be better. And I think where I landed is that I think my YouTube banner is going to be probably hand painted, something similar to this. I think this was too rushed, and I was working on this prior to creating this video, thinking about the logo and stuff and branding. I did like how I signed my name here, and that took like a million tries. So we landed with this signature, and having art studio at the bottom. How cool is this little thingy majig? Okay, so we're on day 2 of our journey to branding my art business. So I mentioned yesterday that I wasn't sure to go with K-Monta's art studio for the business aspect or K-Monta's art. And I think I landed on K-Monta's art. And I'm just gonna leave studio as the YouTube thing. And I think the purpose for that is because it would change a lot of things unnecessarily, and also have me acquire a third name, because I have KimberlyMontez.com and I have had my K-Montez art Instagram for almost 10 years, and well, yeah, it would be 10 years. So, you know, people have known this name for so long, to sort of change that, I think that was my decision. I did create a new EIN number with the official K-Montez art name. The next step is to reach out to whichever company I decide to go with for I originally had, let's walk you through my process. So I originally had this image which I captured from my Procreate. I just felt that it wasn't reading how I wanted to be represented, and then I took this image and I messed around in Adobe Express, and I added a couple sort of graphic vectors. So if you can see, so not working. If you can see some of these sort of little flowers here, I liked this look. It just was something about the image that was giving sort of incomplete, and I also did not like how I did the double line with the KM. So that's my signature. I decided to use that signature throughout the business website. So my business website is called KimberlyMontes.com, and the overall business is K Montes Arts. Rights reserved, that's labeled on the bottom, and everything makes sense. Now, for branding, I landed somewhere in here. So this image I created a while ago, and I think it encapsulates everything that is me: landscapes, florals, interiors, and books and coffee. And I've had this picture in my Procreate for so long, in here in my ready to print folder for so long, and I, decided to look back and use it. Okay, so my video got cut off, and I'm pretty much gonna have to say everything over, but I brought over the original vision board. So to reiterate, I don't know where I got cut off at. I had this image in my Procreate that I created a while ago, and I thought that this would be a good one to encapsulate what I do, right? Because if we look back at our mood board, the color that I selected are sort of in this realm. So I was questioning this blue for a while, so I think I decided to go against it, and I decided to have that purple be sort of a replacement for the blue. So I'm now in this realm of pinks, orange, and green. So that does sort of capture that in that image, and I didn't have to recreate it. So that's always a bonus when you don't have to like recreate something. So I did go with this darker pink for the actual logo, and to bring in some of the landscape inspiration that image encapsulates that landscape, and then the florals are all encapsulated into that sort of little area, along with my interiors, which I didn't realize that I wasn't capturing in my mood board. But this image does such a good job at capturing everything that is me: books, coffee, landscape, interiors, and florals. So I had to include that. And I think when I do decide to reprint business cards, that will be the logo. One second. When I do reprint business cards, that will be the logo, and these will most likely be the colors, with the exception of the blue. I mean, the blue could be sort of like a accenty sort of thing, but I do like that violet color instead. To conclude working on the website, I updated the logo that I initially had. I'm still debating on this pink background, but all the little sort of buttons click in this pink tone, and everything that has a button is in that pink tone, which is the standard, now official standard color of my logo. So there's just a couple of things that I need to edit, like the little icon up at the top, which I think I'm okay with leaving as the black one so that it's a little bit more visible. I used that image to add a smart filter to it. I left it as a smart object, and added a crystallized filter, so pretty much it fractalized the image, and that is the image that I use for my banner. So you can see it here, and inside of the banner it does say Kaymonta's Art Studio. But if you like this type of content and enjoy this video and would like to know more about the business side of art, just comment down below. And as always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.